Hi guys, this is a quick video on how I completed the Live Your More logo. I know in class today you were keen to know a little bit more about some certain aspects of this, so what better way to do that than to break it down in a video that you can watch over and over again. Okay, so this logo is quite simple, although it does look a little bit complex. It is basically two different types of font. So we have the first font, which is Janda Safe and Sound, and the More is in, I think it's some kind of bold, what does it say? The bold font. Very obvious as what it is what it says it is. So you can see that the Live Your is just in black, black fill with no stroke there. So that's very simple. We all know how to do that. What you may not know how to do is to fill this more text in without creating outlines. So, you know, the beautiful part about this little tip is that if I'm not happy with the way the more looks, or I want to change the letter or something, I can actually do that rather than you know, with a clipping mask you actually have to create outlines and move it back into a shape, and it's, you know, really locked in. Whereas this, I can actually move the text around just like I was moving anything else, and it'd still work out to be the same. Okay, so, you know, I can change that text, I can move the tracking or the kerning out. You know, I can actually do quite a few things now compared to what it would be like if I used a clipping mask. So let's have a look at how I did that. Okay, so basically you can see in these layers I have the first layer of Live Your, there it is right there, and then the second layer is made up of three more layers inside this layer group. And what it essentially is the More is actually is just a black type that I then use as a draw inside model to create this kind of effect. So you'll see when I click on the linked file, this is the file that sits behind the More. So if I actually close off the More, you'll be able to see the image that sits behind there, and that's what's coming through the More. Okay, so anything that you want to sit behind needs to be part of this draw inside mode. Okay, so I've just got that sitting behind. It'll automatically do that when we get to how to design it. So you can see it sits behind. Then what I've done is once I get to, I've created, I can actually move it around as well too. So I'm not quite happy with the colors where that's sitting. So I actually can move that design, not the text, I can move that linked file up and down to move that color around. So you can see that moving ever so slowly because my computer's quite slow today. It's got quite a lot of bit on the desktop, but I can actually pick that up and move it around, and that will change where the colors sit, which is really cool. So I can just keep playing around with it until I get sort of the colors that I like. Okay, and that's not locked in either. So I can come back from that. As long as I have the links open, I can come back and change that. So, you know, the client might look at that and go, yeah, I like it, but, you know, I really want some more, you know, pink in it, and I don't like the blue. So, you know, come back and we'll play around with it more, and, you know, we'll get some more purple in there, or we'll just move that around a little bit more till she comes up with a design that she actually quite likes. Okay, it's getting really boring there. Okay, so you get my drift, yeah? So let's start with trying this from scratch, okay? And do it with me as we go along. So create a new, I'm just going to get rid of this so we'll start from scratch. So create a new artboard. I'm going to go A4, and it's just going to be landscape, and hit OK. Now I want to make this exactly like we did this example here, so I can show you exactly how we got there. So the first thing I want to do is type in Live Your. So grab your text tool, click anywhere and type in Live Your. Okay, so it's not the font that we want, so I just need to use my selection tool, and I go up here and I know it's Janda Safe and Sound. So I can click on that. Gender Safe and Sound I've actually downloaded, so it won't be in your text list, but find something that you like that's similar, or jump on the internet and find it and download it for yourself, because it is a pretty funky font. Okay, so there we have Live Your. Okay, so that's the first thing I do in my design. The next one I'd type in is more. So type in your more. Now this is going with gender, but I'm going to make it really big. And for this one, you know, we want to have something that's really bold so we can have a lot of room to fill our pattern inside the more. So we want to go with something a bit more oomphy. Oomphy, there's a word for you, Veronica. Oomphy. So let's go with bold font is what I used before. So let's go with the bold font again. Again, I think that's one I've downloaded maybe from Typekit. So, you know, have a look there, see if you can find the bold font. Okay, so there we have it. There's our black and white version of Live Your More. Very simple, isn't it? Like, it's just two different fonts, and we'll talk about fonts a little bit more next term. But you can see very, very simply, this is what the design was to be. Now I'm just going to start playing with it around a bit more with it. Okay, so what I've done previously is I've gone and have a look at some patterns that I like. I've got it from Adobe stock. You can get it from any Creative Commons website. You could get it from Adobe stock. Just find a pattern that you like. You know, for example, the buttons. You know, Trace, you're thinking about the buttons. Go and find a picture that has stacks of buttons all grouped together, and then that's what you can use as your pattern. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, one, make sure that we've got the pattern already saved onto our desktop. So you can see with me, I've just got it in my files. If I go to my desktop, and I think it's in Live Your More if I have my files sent out correctly, and I don't. Or I might have, hang on. Yes, I do. There it is. See, oh gosh, there is my pattern that I want. And you can see, you know, I've got some others there as well. So that's my pattern that I use for my watermark. That's not a pattern, that's something else. But there's also, there's that geometrical one. Yeah, so, you know, there's heaps of patterns out there. So grab a pattern that you like, make sure it's on your desktop somewhere or it's saved somewhere so we can refer back to it in a sec. So we've got our pattern. We know what we want to do. We've got a plan. Next thing we need to do, if you see these buttons down here, these are going to be quite important to us. So this one on the end is actually, if you hover over it, it actually is the draw inside. Draw inside, Shift D to switch mode. So I can go Shift D to go into draw mode and Shift out of D, Shift D again to draw, to get rid of that. But this is what we want to do. We actually want to draw inside this more. So I've selected what I want the computer to do. So I've selected the area that I want to draw more in. And if I click on that, you can see that I've got these marching ants, or just these dotted lines around the area. And that's saying to me, right, this is the area I identify where you want to draw it in. Okay, so this is now activated. You can then go and use your paintbrush, and we might use your paintbrush with a nice colour, pink, purple, pink, and use my paintbrush. And I might want to do some drawing. These dotted lines that are around the outside, that's saying that now this space is activated, and this is what's going to be our draw inside active space. So now what I need to do is go and find our pattern. Now to do that, we need to place, guys, we need to place our image into this draw inside mode. So I find my pattern by going File, Place, find my file and hit Place. And what you can see is that I've got, see how that's activated by going blue, and you can see I've got my pattern, which is what I've got selected. Now it's hovering at the minute. What I can do is just click and let go, and it'll just paste it in there the size that it is, or I can click and drag, and that will give me the dimensions that I need. So if I click like that, it will show me exactly, I've covered it all really nicely. Okay, so it's now sitting behind the more, but it's already cut out. So I could have sat it on top, and then we would have used a clipping mask that would have clipped one item at a time. And I think, Tracy, you're having some problems with that when we did the Fuse logo, and maybe Kayla. This is a different way of doing it, hopefully, that you could have used the whole pattern to do the whole word. So, you know, something I probably should have shown you before, but also a good example of, you know, how many you can do different things to create the same kind of effect, okay? So now I can actually highlight that clipping path, that linked file, and move it around to wherever I think looks good, okay? So I might think there looks great, it's got lots of pink in it, it's looking awesome. But again, note that I can change the types around, I can move that, I can delete that. I can actually change how close they are, might bring that in a little bit. So remembering our kerning keys are Alt and using the cross arrows across, using the direction to make it further apart, or my other side arrow to make it closer together. So I'm going to really smash it in nice and tight there. Maybe one more there. Okay. And you can see I'm on isolation mode there as well. So I click out of there. That looks great. I've got that all sorted, but it still looks a bit flat to me. What I want to do now is I want to put a bit of a drop shadow behind it. So super keen on the drop shadows, hey. So, okay, so exactly what we do when we normally do a drop shadow behind a shape. Go up to Effect. Now I need to make sure I'm on my layer that I want. So you can see that I'm on that clip group and all of these are highlighted because I've actually got two layers in there, don't I? I have the text file and then I've also got my pattern file. So you can see that they're two, and that's the folder that they sit in, that clip group. Okay, so that's highlighted. I go up to my Effect, go to Stylize and hit Drop Shadow. Now it's not showing anything because I haven't got my preview on. Hit my preview, and that's way too heavy for my liking, so I'm just going to make it smaller, a bit lighter on, looking a little bit too much at the minute. Okay, keep going down, but you get the gist. I don't want it so much. My computer's slow, isn't it? Okay, so you get the idea. That's probably where I would like to sit it. And I hit OK. And it won't let me because it's still going down. Give me time. Oh, I'm meant to be finishing soon. Okay, hit OK. Oh, that's good. Stop. Hopefully you do it one too many times. It's a bit slow. Okay, that's looking much better. Come on. Stop. It's very, very slow. I was very, very impatient. Okay, look, we stopped. No, we haven't stopped. Oh, there we go. We're stopped now. No, we haven't. Yes, we have. No, we haven't. All right, have a play while I am finishing playing with my computer. Behave. If I cancel that. This doesn't want to stop, does it? Yeah, we're going too far. Okay, well that was terrible. Let's try that again. Drop shadow, and it's going to say apply new effect. Yes, I know that. It's going to look really bad, hence Ben's design. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, I'm just going to hit OK there so it gives us some kind of idea. Okay, oh, that's a bit hard on the eyes, isn't it? So I have the Leave Your More with a drop shadow, really bad drop shadow because my computer was playing silly buggers. But you can see now how I got to that pattern. Okay, so you can change that pattern up to anything that you like. So remember that draw inside button. Use it to your advantage. If you want to just do one So we were saying before we actually want to do buttons within this and we just want one at a time. So we might be able to, you're just going to have to change the way you do your drawing. So say you've got mending lab, again, mending, but you might want the E and the D focused. So let's work on the E. Just work on them independently first and clip that. Okay, then put your pattern over the top. So place a different pattern. I'm going to just do a different pattern. We'll put that one in, place that one. Okay, so that's my E. Pretend that they're the buttons, and then I can type in my mending, M, the space, N-D-I-N-G. Okay, make this really big. Okay, so make it as big as the E. Now obviously that's not going to fit, so I need to be using my kerning, my Alt, and moving that out, so then my E fits in. Okay, grab my E, pop it in. That's obviously not the same size, but we're going to make it a bit bigger. Okay, so you get the idea. So making that E actually separate to what everybody else's is, but then you can change it around. So you can have that separate to everything else. Sorry, we just lost it there for a minute. Okay, so that font is actually different, a little bit different. So we can actually, because it's not looking quite right, I'm just going to lock that down so I can get to the E really easily. Make it a little bit smaller so I can fit it in. Okay, it's still not working too well. I'm just going to, it's locked. Oh, that's why. Locked the wrong one. Okay, so now see I can grab it really easily and I can make it as big as I need to, as big as that needs to be. I might just stretch it down ways. Okay, so you can play around with that till you get to where it needs to be, but then that's the way Trace and some others that were thinking about putting your buttons in your mending unit, so making sure that you get rid of that. So that would be what our buttons would then look like. So if I can ungroup, unclick that, then that would be how my mending would look. And then you can put a drop shadow behind that actual E or do whatever you like. So if you wanted your N done, you know, take your N out and do the same thing with your E. And then you've got that option to change those backgrounds in as well. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I look forward to the next YouTube clip. Okay, bye for now. So that's